Now, moving on. Mayor, and I'll ask this one to you, the Deputy Mayor, given her portfolio, and the City Manager. There are 6 City of Johannesburg executives that earn more than the President of South Africa. The head of City Power, the CEO of Johannesburg Roads Agency, the Pikitup Managing Director, Johannesburg Property Company, Johannesburg Development Agency, Johannesburg City Theatres, Johannesburg Water. I'm trying to understand, maybe give us some context. What is the logic behind this? And what is it that these executives do that makes them earn more than the President of South Africa? Maybe there's a special degree that they need to have, some aeronautical propulsion systems, maybe that they have a PhD in, that renders them the exclusive, gives them the exclusivity to be earning more than the President of South Africa, because clearly their jobs at Pikitup must be more complex than that of the President. Could you please indulge us? Tell us, what is the case, what's going on here? I can give you the numbers of who earns what, if that's... What is the question?
No, I was thinking that, Chair, because you raised a very important issue, through you, Chair, of the inner city when you are saying to the Mayor, you hope during the term nothing happens. You raised a very fundamental issue, which has reached the crisis levels in the City of Johannesburg. You are quite right. If anything was to happen as we speak here today, we are going to be in a big problem at the level of Usindis. What I wanted to indicate the complexity of the issue is, we went to as far as trying to get evacuation orders in the inner city. We've got 10 or 12 evacuation orders. When I'm talking about the evacuation orders is, we as the city, we went to court. We told the court that the structural integrity of the buildings is so bad that nobody can live in those buildings. And to an extent where one of the judges indicated that those people are better in the bush than in those buildings. So you are quite correct, Honorable Member. And I'm raising this thing, it does not only affect the City of Johannesburg, but it is worse in the inner city. If any fire was to erupt there, if there was to be any shift of any building, wind or whatever, we are going to reach a crisis. And I was discussing it with my EMS people to say, perhaps maybe we should declare a state of emergency or a state of disaster, because that is what it is in the city. And I just thought maybe I should add to what you are raising to say, there is a problem in the inner city. We acknowledge you are not just shooting in the air. In as much as it's painful, you are raising very pertinent issues which needs an urgent attention. If we don't attend to the inner city, we are going to lose lives, and we don't know when. We are just hanging on that thin thread and hoping against hope every day that nothing happens. I thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. On the question of executives, and I think it's something that we are starting to grapple with in the city, because I think salaries at entity level have been left between the board and the people who appoint the CEO. So the boards set up the salaries at entity levels, unlike at core level where salaries are regulated through COGTA. And I think what we're trying to grapple with is how do we bring that same regime for the executives at entity level. I think that's the question for now. That's the answer for now.
Mayor, are you happy with that answer?
Well, I guess Mbulelo must just collate the information and give the information to the committee on each and every of the CEO that has been appointed, because the figures currently, we may have different figures on what we understand has been allocated. So let's give you a scientific report and submit it by tomorrow.
Okay, the question was, what are these mayors doing that is so specialized, that make, or the CEOs, what are the CEOs doing that makes them earn so much? Is their work so specialized? Is it some rocket science or some nuclear physicist PhDs that they have that makes them earn this much? Why do they earn this much is the question. Why do they earn more than the president? Do they perhaps have, I even made an example that, do they perhaps have more responsibility than the president of South Africa because they earn more than him? And I made an example of Pikitup, that whoever's running Pikitup is earning more than the president of South Africa, from what we are being told. Now, if my understanding is correct, Pikitup collects garbage around Johannesburg, and that person who runs that entity owns more than the president of South Africa. Indulge us, Mayor, please.
Chair, can I keep it to that response? We'll give a full report, accommodating and giving a reflection of every CO that has been appointed as private entities, and it's on the basis that probably some benchmarking would have been done before they arrived at those decisions. So let's give you a comprehensive report. Otherwise, at this stage, I'll find myself thumb-sucking.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
No, I'm not happy with that. So I've saved your 54 seconds left on your time. So you'll ask one more question. This shouldn't be complicated, Executive Mayor and the city manager. One of you should know what criteria is used to do the job grading. The scope of the job, the size of the balance sheet, whatever the case might be. Surely you know those kind of things, to say our entities of different sizes, the considerations at this category is A, the consideration at is category B, and pick it up that you are asking about. The considerations would be the following. It's not difficult. It doesn't need a report. The city manager and you, Executive Mayor, between the two of you should be able to produce an answer for Honorable Kubek.
No, thanks, Chair. Let me try. No, Chair, look, indeed it's a fact that they earn more than what we earn at upper limits level, at the COGTA level. So it's based on the scope and the complexity of the jobs. And they've got a complete different system in terms of their own benchmarking and the scales of their salaries. So it is something that the Executive Mayor raised recently as well, that we now need to go through our Corporate Services Department and Governance and rationalize this, because clearly it is not a cost that we believe that must be passed on to your residents, because there's an issue and the Honourable Member is almost raising it towards that particular value for money in this case.
So, City Manager, you've kind of repeated what I proposed to you as a general point. That's what you've just done, and then you pivoted to what you guys are going to be doing. That's not enough for me. I expect you to have an idea of the considerations that go into the determination of the salary of the CEO. Just to make it clear, I am not one of the people who believe that in order to get good professionals, you must pay them peanuts. I don't believe that. You want a 1.5 million rand per year CFO, you're going to get a junior manager as CFO. So that's me. So that's not where I'm coming from. My difficulty is that you don't know what considerations at those organizations get to determine those salary packages and how they incentivize. That's what you should be able to explain to us, but you're not. I don't know why you don't know. So do you really don't know, gentlemen?
The point is taken, Chair. We can provide you with the report, but indeed, those are some of the things that you would have mentioned, and you are correct. It's linked to the pressure within those particular positions, and I wouldn't want to thumbsuck all those figures. We've also seen recently in the media that certain one or two of the CEOs or MDs, there were escalations in their salaries. We've written to them, so there is a report that we can provide very soon. And like the Mayor said, we can give tomorrow, and we can clearly indicate what it is based on, scientifically.
Okay, before I hand back to Honorable Kubek, my difficulty is that you gentlemen don't know. You understand? The pressure of city manager, the pressures that you face, believe me, probably 3 times, you can tell me this, 3 times that each of those people have to pay. So I don't deny that. I'm just saying I expect you to know, and you gentlemen don't know, and council should know what goes into those kind of decisions. But let's leave it. Honorable Gupek, your last one.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Before that last question, what we're talking about now with the issue of the salaries says to us that the city manager and the mayor and the executive as a whole, they do not know, or they've got no control of what's happening with these salaries. And then for the city manager, it must be painful for him that the people reporting to him earn more than he does. But to the last questions, oh yeah, sorry. And then Mayor, you said you're going to give me a report with city manager. That report, please tell us. Also add, just noting that those entities that we're talking about, they also have boards in them. The people who sit on those boards also earn. Could you give us a report of what they earn as well? And I'm saying this because all of these entities that we're talking about, most of them, they are failing. Yet they have these executives who earn exorbitant amounts. One, they've got boards as well that earn. We're just not sure how much the boards earn. Could you please add that to the report? And then the final question, it's 2 questions, Chair. At City Power, price inflation features prominently in the Hawks case docket that includes possible bribery when an 8.6 million rand quote for the supervisory control and data acquisition system, or SCADA, ballooned to 100.6 million without the job spec changing or additional purchases for the John Ware substation in the CBD. The system should have been 7.1 and blah, blah, blah. I would like the guys at City Power to take us into confidence regarding this huge or exorbitant price escalation. What was the issue there? And then the then CEO, I'm not sure if it's the same CEO of the same City Power, had an apparent nepotism racket at the entity as well, allegedly employing family members and family members of senior managers. Could we be appraised about that? And then just lastly, Chair, the mayor, there's an allegation that the mayor is burying the Johannesburg City Power's financial reports. Mayor is that City Power's financial reports. There's an allegation that you are burying, or you're not bringing to the front, to the fore, to the, whereas faith, yes, you are not bringing them to the fore, to your council, that the financial reports, you're not giving them from City Power to this thing. Is this true? That's one. And was the mayor able to table to the council the financial reports of City Power over the past 2 years? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair. We do table the reports through our annual quarterly reports, that we take to council. So we should have presented the financials for all the entities. So that part has been taken care of. So we have no reason to hide reports. We're also required by legislation that on a quarterly basis we must also submit Section 71 reports to National Treasury, which we do comply with those reports. So I guess the statement, I'll respond in that fashion. What other question?
Thanks, Chairperson. With the allegations of SCADA and the nepotism and all that, I would like to put it also on record that that is not true. It's not factual. It's just reports that were reported or we've seen in the media, and especially a particular media house. And all those allegations, they were subjected to an independent legal firm to investigate via the board. And the report came and it did not find anything of some sort that has been reported about. Thank you, Chair.
Could we possibly get a report on that, Chair? That same report be shared with us? Thank you.
We will do. Thank you.
And then the second question was with that deployment of nepotism allegations.
Yeah, it's the report. If I recall very well, it didn't find any nepotism. However, it also acknowledges the fact that there's people who are working that you may be related to. It does not mean that they cannot work, because the person who has been alleged that has committed that kind of a situation or nepotism is not even sitting in the interviews or whatsoever. So, but all that information will support or provide the report based on all those allegations that have been made. Thank you, Chair.
So basically, there are people who have got relatives that are working senior in the entity that are working there, but it's just that the seniors were not involved in the hiring of those people.
The report, I think, I don't want to say it exactly as I'm saying, but I can recall from the head of from the mind to say, for example, if Ndlovu is in Ndlovu and there's another Ndlovu who's working, then it may look like that is the situation. However, it has been written in the report, the full information as to what exactly transpired, and we can provide so that the members can find comfort in the actual report. Thank you.
Okay, who compiled that report?
There's an independent legal firm that has been sanctioned by the board, and they have done the report.
Please also share with us the details of that independent firm. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thanks very much, Honorable Kupeka. That's Honorable Letsia. It's not the chair of the Higher Education Portfolio Committee, not somebody from the Expanded Public Works Program. Welcome, Chair. It's good to have you here. We've got two honorable members who haven't. It's Honorable Mende and Honorable Matuna. But Honorable Matuna is still gymming. So we will take Honorable Mende. Please go ahead.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I see by the presence of the higher education that the House is now done. Greetings once more to everyone. To the Mayor, the City Manager, and the MMC for Finance. If we were to talk to the actions taken in response to the AG's findings, this session would have taken us 20 minutes and would have gone home. The problem that the AG is identifying and concerned about is lack of action, where there is glaring non-compliance of the legislation where financials are concerned. Now, the most glaring feature here is that there is no respect for the rule of law. Here we have the group of City of Johannesburg. Let's leave the core. And Chair, I want to make a proposition that the entities should get a day of their own, because what we are doing here is really not accountability. We are asking merely 2 minutes and we are over that. I'm saying this because, MMC, you are responsible to make sure that whatever budget of the city is spent wisely on the citizens of the city. When you look at the findings in terms of the financials of the entities, the city power is at procurement and contract management, as well as expenditure management. Johannesburg Water, expenditure management. Pikitup, West. They cannot even compile annual financial statements. The performance reports are questionable. Annual reports are questionable. Expenditure management, they cannot even account or declare. Yet these are the people who earn more than the president. Joshco, the same property company, Johannesburg Property Company, Development Agency, Roads, Metrobus, City Parks, Tourism, and the Metropolitan Trading. What's common here is that there is lack of accountability, but most glaring is the incompetence. That's the problem we have, May. What have you done when the AG tells you that these entities are failing on the basic function of their office to compile annual financial statement according to the standards that are expected of them? They cannot declare correctly on the performance, on the annual report. Procurement management is not in line, as well as the asset management at property company. What steps did you take when you get that? These are the people who should be the most qualified. But what did you do when the AG tells you, here are the shortfalls within these entities? Most basic things. Just want to get that first.
Oh, you wanted me? I thought you were asking from the finance point of view. I think the questions you are asking are quite clear, but what we are trying to do as the city is to deal with those things through working with GPEC, audit, and our risk committees that we have established to help us deal with performance, deal with the risks, and of course dealing with the audit. So that's the best we could do. But added to that expectation is that from an administrative point of view, there should be processes that are undertaken to ensure that these entities are able to comply and respond to the challenges that the AG have raised. We have put in place an audit action plan so that all those matters that the AG has raised, we can respond to. And some of them, I do agree with you, are matters that should have acted quite quickly, because as you look at the AG's report, some of them are repeated findings which we should have resolved adequately as the city. So I think there are lessons learned that we need to ensure that we respond to these things as urgently as possible. So I do note the issues I've raised. There are weaknesses, especially in the entities, and I think we need also to strengthen group governance. And our audit committees have been doing quite an outstanding work to point out to some of these failures. All what they needed to do is to follow up on the problems or the failures that have been indicated. Some of them have been successful to clear. As you can see, that the audit action is demonstrating that some of the findings were able to clear as we move along, but we still have to do more. Thanks.
I'm glad that you are also acknowledging that these are repeated findings, and that's what the AG is concerned about, that this is a culture. Yet these are the people who should be most qualified. And MMC, this is where I have a problem. You can't have a senior manager, in fact, a head of a department, who repeats the same mistake of not accounting and compiling the financials of the city. We deal with 82 billion. Yet the citizens of Johannesburg do not look like they live in a city of 82 billion. That's the problem. Why are we not acting? We learned the lesson, May. Why are we not acting?
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Member, one of the acknowledgements we have made, and we had a conversation with the city manager, a frank one in the mayoral committee, to say where there are capacity challenges that may have been identified through our skills audit processes, there were recommendations where we could look at possible rotation of employees. Perhaps sometimes you may find that a person may have been employed in a specific space, but however, the environment and the work that they need to carry out is perhaps not at the level in terms of capacity. So on capacity building, we've had that, but on rotation, to deal with us, to make sure that we have the right person fit for purpose in those particular positions, particularly because we also made this observation that Honourable Member is talking about.
Yeah, go over MMC, but that's just not enough. I'm going to give an example. We run a campaign called Unrestricted Cleanup Campaign as an organization, as EFF. At Ward 11, Johannesburg, that's one of my homes, the same street as the president of the country, his home in Shawel. There's a huge heap of the dumping site. We went to do a cleanup campaign. I was with the chairperson. He was a chairperson then of the region. When I asked for a truck to come and clean up from Pikitup, we were told a story of that. There's a funny sound. They were told some story of how Pikitup will not be available to do that. And I asked for the big bin so that people can stop dumping and put the garbage in the bin. Mind you, this space is a space between a school and the township. Kids are crossing there to the school on the other side and the township. Pikitup was nowhere to be found. A week later, we had to fight to get Pikitup to deal with that. This is an entity that does not collect the bins. The reason why there's that dumping site is because people's bins get full. It's not collected, and then they go dump it to clear their bins. Besides not having a capacity to deal with the budget, expenditure, income, and everything, they cannot do the day-to-day. Hence, my colleague was asking, what is the speciality of the CEO of Pikitup? Because they don't do work. And my problem is that earlier on, we were told there are issues of finances where Pikitup is concerned, where service providers are not even paid within 30 days. So if you cannot pay the major service delivery of that affects people's health, who is budgeting against the service at the Pikitup? Whose problem is it that the trucks of Pikitup are not paid? How many trucks do we have versus the population or households that require cleaning on a daily basis? If someone can talk to us about, especially Pikitup, I am asking this to demonstrate that the person who is the head of Pikitup doesn't know what they are doing and they are not equal to the task. Now, can we be taken through? Earlier on, we're told about the creditors of Pikitup, but the process wherein this entire Pikitup mess is concerned, we're not being told. Can we be explained as to what is the budget of Pikitup to versus the citizens or the households? How many trucks are at Pikitup? And why are we not paying the creditors? Thank you.